I'm not quite through with the surrendered worry post. But of all the Bible verses for me to look at today and the research I have done on worry, it would have to be this one, Matthew 18:20. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. This morning, as I read of the latest situation with my nephew, I didn't want to ask for prayer. Why would I want to do that? I wanted to keep it private. I wanted to keep it quiet. But I knew in my heart of hearts it was the only choice that I had, because it's the only hope that he has, is that if I get people to pray for him. Marshaling God's children together to agree and pray about the situation means Jesus is there with us. I have seen drunks come to church drunk as a child. I've seen them go to an altar and repent of their sins. And then I've seen God touch them, and when they stood up, they were sober. I want that for my nephew. You see, God's been taking me through a process with this surrendered worry thing that is changing me. I've had many situations since I've been on this missionary journey that would have sent most people home. But God wanted me to choose to be crazy for Him and to choose Him above situations and above problems. This walk with God is different. It's a walk that takes us places we really don't want to go, and makes us look at things differently. When God chooses you to be crazy for Him, you work for Him in ways others wouldn't even consider. You have to walk away from things that people think you should handle. Why? The work of God has to come first. I know a lot of people in America who will challenge me on that, and that's fine. But the Bible backs me up. Actually, it's the words of Jesus. Matthew chapter 8 and verse 22 says, "But Jesus said unto them, Follow me, and let the dead bury their dead." Or Matthew 10:37 through 39. "He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his cross and followeth not after me, and followeth after me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it." You don't have to like it. There's a lot of stuff in the Bible that we don't like, but it's how we have to live. I've got a lot of crazy thoughts going through my mind right now. You see, we have to love God more than anything or anyone else. That's just the way it has to be. I'd venture to say that if Jesus showed up in some of our churches to preach a message, a lot of us wouldn't listen. He was challenging, but he was miraculous. He did not fit the mold, which is why the preachers or the priests of that day plotted to kill him. I'm sick and tired of normal Christianity, normal church, normal praise. Our world is lost and dying, going to a devil's hell. It's happening while we are so wrapped up in our own little worlds. Where's our burden for the lost? Where, oh, where is our burden for the lost? Now you understand why God has me writing about surrendered worry. This battle with my nephew. I've struggled with whether or not to make it public. It's one I keep having to surrender to God. It's one I keep laying down on an altar, and sometimes in the middle of the night I start to wonder, how is he? What could I do? Is there anything that I could do to change this? No, there's nothing I can do. You see, he has to let God in. And we have so many in our churches sitting on pews who have family members struggling with the demons of addiction, and we have so many sitting on our pews who are struggling with addiction. We have to be real. It's time for us to be human. And while on this missionary journey, you think life's easy? Not hardly. My family's had many crises. We've had loss. I've chosen to suffer in private and trust God to bring me through. That's what we have to do. We have to give it all to Jesus. You see, I can still see Sister Cobb saying at the West Virginia Ladies Conference, new levels in God, new demons to fight, or new devils to fight. Same difference. Well, I've been fighting an awful lot of devils. But you know what? I've read the back of the book and I know who wins this war. You do too. Having fought this fight with addiction, because that's what took my husband's life decades too soon, 2.5 years ago. I know prayer's truly the only thing that'll change the situation. I know going home won't change it. I can pray from anywhere. You see, my mission's not yet complete in Kenya. God hasn't released me. I have to feel a release from the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. If he releases me, you can bet I'll be changing that plane ticket and I will be headed back. But until God releases me, I can't. I won't do it without his permission. I'm curious today, how desperate are we for a move of God? Are we desperate enough for a move of God to leave everything as we step out Are we desperate enough for a move of God to leave everything as we step out of the boat and focus our eyes on Jesus? Even as the storm surrounds us, even as the winds whip and the waves knock us about, are we desperate enough to keep walking toward Jesus? Or will we allow the worries of our storm to stop us from following him? Surrendered worry is a great place to live, but it's a very difficult place to get to. Do we have what it takes to truly be surrendered in our worry, letting Jesus be in charge of the details of the storms that we can't change anyway? So what did I do after I found out about this latest crisis? Well, it was a life and death crisis, and I prayed about it, and I went for a walk. Because either I trust Jesus to be God or I don't. What about you? What are you going to do in your situations? Are you going to trust God? Or are you going to try to take control of the situation and change it, when in reality you know you can't? Only God can change the situation. Surrender your worries today. And believe me when I say, I know what it means to surrender your worry. I'm over 11,000 miles from home. I found out there's nothing I can do to get him help. It was like that with my husband. HIPAA. God bless HIPAA. HIPAA ties your hands unless they're a danger to themselves or a danger to someone else. Meaning they have said, I want to kill myself, or I want to kill you. You can't get them help. But you can on your knees. But you have to surrender your worries about it and let Jesus handle it. Let Jesus take control. But remember, in those situations, these people still have freedom of choice. They still have freedom of choice. So at some point you've got to say, okay, God, here it is. You know what's best. I don't know what to do. I don't have a clue. And that's the same thing with a cancer diagnosis or being in a hospital. And I have a lot of friends today who are in a hospital. But God knows when those doctors have to work on you and when those nurses come in and when the bad reports keep rolling in. God knows about that. And I'm waiting. God's going to do some amazing miracles. I don't know what's going to happen with my nephew, but I trust God. So now what do? I wait and I keep walking. And I wait and I keep walking. And I pray and I wait. And God will do the miraculous. And he will do it for you. So take your problems to Jesus. Trust him. Lay your worries on the altar and leave them there. And then wait. And keep praying. And keep trusting. And watch Jesus do the miraculous for you. God bless y'all. Still in Nairobi. And what am I going to do this afternoon? Well, I'm going to work on that next book. Because that's the work of God. That's part of my mission. So I'm going to keep working while I wait and while I trust. God bless y'all.